Let me ask you a question. What if I told you that in just 1 week you could change your entire life? That 7 days from now you could wake up with a fire in your soul, a laser sharp focus, and a momentum so unstoppable that nothing could stand in your way? Would you believe me? Because that's exactly what happened to me. I made 5 small shifts, just 5, and they weren't complicated. They weren't impossible. But when I applied them with intensity, my life flipped like a switch. It went from average to extraordinary, from stuck to soaring, from questioning my potential to owning my destiny. And today I'm handing them to you. The first shift? Radical ownership. Most people live their entire lives blaming something. The economy, their boss, their past. But let me be brutally honest with you. Your life will never change until you take full ownership. 1 week ago, I looked in the mirror and realized something. Everything in my life, everything, is a direct result of my choices. The money in my bank, the energy in my body, the relationships I've built or failed to build. It was all me. No excuses, no blaming, just responsibility. And the moment I owned that, I reclaimed my power. Because when you blame, you become a victim. But when you take responsibility, you become a force of nature. The second shift, obsessive morning rituals. How you start your morning is how you live your life. I used to wake up like most people, scrolling my phone, hitting snooze, dragging myself out of bed, but not anymore. Now the first hour of my day is a non-negotiable win. I move my body, I prime my mind, I fuel my energy with purpose. I write down my goals, visualize success, and set the tone for dominance. And let me tell you, this isn't just morning motivation. This is war, a battle for control over your own mind. And when you win the first hour, you win the day. The third shift, rewiring the mind for wealth. Money is not about luck. It's not about working harder. It's about what you believe is possible for you. 1 week ago, I made a decision. I would never again think small, never again settle, never again let my fears dictate my financial destiny. Instead, I started studying the habits of the wealthy. I stopped wasting money on things that don't serve my future. I started investing in knowledge, in opportunities, in assets. And let me tell you something. When you change how you see money, you change how you make money. The fourth shift, the 24-hour challenge. Most people waste time, they scroll, they procrastinate, they live in distraction mode. But I made a deal with myself for 24 hours. I would operate at maximum productivity, no distractions, no social media, no wasted moments, just laser focus on my goals. And the results? Mind-blowing. What I achieved in 1 day was more than I used to achieve in a week. And here's the crazy part. When you do it once, you prove it's possible. And when you prove it's possible, you can repeat it over and over and over. So here's the deal. You don't need a year. You don't even need a month. You need 1 week. 7 days of radical ownership. 7 days of rewiring your mind. 7 days of obsessively building the future you deserve. And I promise you this, if you commit, if you go all in, you'll never be the same again. Now the question is, are you ready? There was a time in my life when I felt stuck, completely trapped in my circumstances. I was working hard but getting nowhere. I had big dreams but no results. And every time something went wrong, I had a reason, a justification. It's not my fault. The economy wasn't great. My boss didn't see my potential. People around me weren't supportive enough. I told myself these stories so many times that they became my reality. But here's the truth. Those stories were nothing but excuses dressed as explanations. One day I hit a breaking point. I was sitting alone in my car, frustrated, angry, feeling like life had cheated me. And then, out of nowhere, a realization hit me like a ton of bricks. The common denominator in every failure, every setback, every missed opportunity in my life was me. Not my boss, not the economy, not my past. Just me. That was the moment I understood something that changed everything. If I wanted my life to change, I had to take complete and total ownership of it. At first, the idea was terrifying. It's easier to blame. It's easier to point fingers. It's easier to believe that life is happening to you instead of realizing that you are the one creating it. But I made a decision that day, a decision to stop blaming, stop making excuses, and start owning everything. Not just the good, not just the wins, everything. When I started taking full responsibility, I saw things differently. When I wasn't making enough money, instead of blaming my circumstances, I asked myself, what am I doing or not doing that's keeping me broke? And suddenly I realized the truth. I wasn't learning. I wasn't pushing myself. I was hoping things would get better instead of taking action to make them better. When my relationships were struggling, instead of saying, they don't understand me, I asked, what am I bringing to the table? And guess what? I saw my own flaws, my own mistakes, my own patterns that were holding me back. That's the brutal, powerful, undeniable truth about radical ownership. It forces you to face yourself. And facing yourself is the hardest thing you will ever do, because when you stop blaming the outside world, there's only one place left to look: in the mirror. I started applying this principle to every area of my life. My health, my responsibility. My success, my responsibility. My happiness, my responsibility. Every time I wanted to make an excuse, I caught myself and flipped the script. Instead of saying, I don't have enough time, I said, I haven't made time. Instead of saying that person didn't treat me right, I asked, why did I allow it? What boundaries did I fail to set? And let me tell you, this level of ownership is not easy. It's not comfortable, but it is freedom. Because here's the thing, the moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment you take full control of it. Think about it. If your problems are always someone else's fault, then your life is at their mercy. You have no power, no say. You're just a puppet being controlled by outside forces. But when you own your actions, your choices, your outcomes, you hold the pen, you write the script, you become the master of your fate. I've met people who spend decades waiting for someone else to change. They wait for their boss to notice them, for their family to support them, for the world to somehow give them what they think they deserve. And guess what? It never happens, because no one is coming to save you. No one is going to show up and hand you the life you want. No one is responsible for your future but you. That realization is the most empowering thing you will ever experience, because when you own your failures, you also own your ability to change. When you stop blaming, you start learning. When you stop making excuses, you start making progress. And progress is what separates the successful from the stuck. After I committed to radical ownership, everything in my life transformed. My mindset shifted from hoping to executing. My work ethic exploded because I knew that every action I took or didn't take was on me. And let me tell you, people noticed. They saw the change. Opportunities started showing up, not because I was lucky, but because I had positioned myself for them, because I had worked for them. People who knew me before asked, what happened to you? How did you turn things around so fast? And I told them the truth. I stopped playing the victim. I stopped waiting for permission. I stopped giving my power away. And when I did that, my life skyrocketed. Now, let me ask you, where in your life are you making excuses? Where are you blaming instead of owning? What patterns are keeping you stuck? Because the moment you stop lying to yourself, the moment you take full responsibility, that is the moment everything changes. You don't have to wait years. You don't have to wait for the perfect time. You don't need anyone's approval. You just need one decision, one choice to own your life, own your results, and own your future. The question is, will you? The way you start your morning determines everything. It's the foundation of your day, the launch pad for your success, and the single most powerful weapon you have to take control of your life. Most people wake up like they have no purpose, hitting snooze, checking their phone, dragging themselves out of bed with no intention, no direction, and no fire. And they wonder why their life isn't where they want it to be. I used to be like that. I would wake up and go straight into reacting to emails, reacting to messages, reacting to whatever the world threw at me. And because I started my day that way, my entire life felt like I was always playing defense, no control, no momentum, just chasing after things instead of creating them. Then everything changed. I learned one of the most powerful truths about success. The first hour of your day is the most important hour of your life. It sets the tone, creates the energy, and determines whether you will be in control or be controlled. Once I understood that, I became obsessed with designing the perfect morning routine. Not just a routine for the sake of routine, but a strategy to dominate every single day before the rest of the world even wakes up. And let me tell you, when you start your morning with discipline, energy, and intention, you become unstoppable. You move differently, you think differently, you operate at a completely different level than the average person. And the results? Life-changing. The first shift I made was getting rid of the snooze button. Because here's the truth. When you hit snooze, you're already telling yourself, my comfort is more important than my dreams. That tiny, seemingly harmless decision sets the tone for your entire day. And if you start your day by negotiating with yourself, by choosing ease over execution, then you carry that mindset into everything else you do. So I made a new rule. The second my alarm goes off, I get up. No questions, no hesitation. That single change created a ripple effect in my life. The next thing I did, I stopped reaching for my phone. Most people start their day scrolling through notifications, checking emails, consuming nonsense before their brain is even fully awake. What they don't realize is that the moment they do that, they've already lost control. They've handed over their focus, their energy, their state of mind to whatever shows up on that screen, and that's exactly why they feel drained before the day even begins. I decided I wouldn't let the outside world dictate my mornings anymore. Instead, I took control. And that started with priming my mind and body for success. The first thing I do after waking up, I move immediately. Whether it's stretching, a quick workout, or just getting my blood flowing, I make sure my body knows it's time to go, because motion creates energy, and energy is everything. Think about it. How do you feel when you start your morning sluggish, dragging yourself out of bed? Now, how do you feel when you start your morning with power, moving with purpose? The difference is night and day. After that, I focus on my mind. I don't let the world set my mood. I set it myself. I take 10 to 15 minutes to visualize my goals, to see my future as if it's already happening. I don't just think about success. I feel it, I see it, I embody it. Because when you train your brain to focus on where you're going instead of where you are, you start making decisions that align with that future. Then I take control of my emotions. Most people let their emotions run wild. They wake up stressed, anxious, thinking about everything that could go wrong. Not me. I rewire my mind for gratitude. Because when you start your day focused on what you have instead of what you lack, everything shifts. Your energy changes, your confidence rises, your entire perspective transforms. And when you operate from gratitude, success becomes a byproduct. Next, I set my intentions. Before the chaos of the world starts pulling me in 100 directions, I decide what matters. I don't just let the day happen, I structure it. I write down my top 3 priorities, the things that will move the needle in my life. And once they're locked in, I commit. That way, no matter what distractions come my way, no matter what unexpected challenges show up, I already know what needs to get done. Finally, I fuel my body and my mind. What you put in your body first thing in the morning matters. If you start your day with garbage, junk food, caffeine crashes, low quality fuel, you can't expect to perform at your best. So I make sure my body gets what it needs. Hydration, clean energy, the right fuel to keep me sharp, strong, and unstoppable. And then, only then, am I ready to take on the day. Most people don't realize this, but the battle for your success isn't won during the big moments. It's won in the small decisions, in the way you start your morning, in the rituals you commit to before anyone else is even awake. Because when you win the morning, you don't just win the day, you win your life. For the longest time, I believed that wealth was something that happened to other people. I thought success was reserved for those who were lucky, born into the right family, or had connections I didn't have. I worked hard, but no matter how many hours I put in, I was always stuck, always struggling, always wondering why money seemed to flow so easily to others while I could barely keep up. I told myself, maybe I'm just not meant to be rich. And that belief, that single thought, it controlled everything. Because here's the truth. Your bank account is a direct reflection of your mindset. The way you think about money, success, and opportunity determines how much of it you attract or repel. Most people don't realize that they are programmed, conditioned from a young age to think small, to believe that wealth is hard to get, that money is scarce, that financial freedom is only for the few. And as long as those beliefs remain, no matter how hard they work, they will always find themselves struggling. That's what was happening to me. No matter how much effort I put in, my mind was blocking me from seeing the opportunities, from making the right moves, from taking the bold actions that wealth requires. Then everything changed. I realized that wealth isn't about luck. It's about rewiring the mind. It's about replacing limiting beliefs with powerful, unstoppable financial habits. It's about seeing money not as something to chase, but as something to align with. The first thing I had to do was confront the lies I had been telling myself. The old beliefs had to go. Money is hard to get, false. Money flows to those who create value. I'm not good with money, false. I had just never trained myself to manage it. Rich people are greedy. False. The wealthiest people I studied were the ones who gave the most. I started replacing these limiting thoughts with new empowering beliefs. I told myself, wealth is available to me. I attract abundance. I am capable of creating unlimited success. And let me tell you, at first it felt like a lie. It felt unnatural. But that's because I had spent years programming myself to think small. So I did something radical. I surrounded myself with new influences. I stopped taking financial advice from people who were broke. I started listening to those who had built real wealth, who had mastered the game, who understood that money is a tool, not a struggle. I immersed myself in books, mentors, courses, anything that could reprogram my mind to think like the wealthy. And then I started taking action. Because here's the thing, rewiring your mind isn't just about thinking differently, it's about doing differently. I made a commitment to stop wasting money on things that didn't build my future. No more spending just to impress people. No more mindless purchases that gave me short-term pleasure but left me with nothing long-term. Instead, I started putting my money where it mattered, investing in knowledge, in skills, in opportunities that could multiply what I had. I learned one of the most powerful wealth principles. Money grows when it's respected. Most people don't respect their money. They spend it without thinking, they ignore it, they fear it. But those who build wealth, they treat money like a seed. They plant it, they nurture it, they allow it to expand. I started setting financial goals, not just vague dreams, but specific measurable targets. How much I wanted to earn, how much I wanted to save, how much I wanted to invest. Because without clear goals, money has nowhere to go. And the moment I got specific, the moment I put real numbers on paper, opportunities started appearing. I also changed the way I earned. I realized that trading time for money would never make me wealthy. The rich don't work harder, they work smarter. They create systems, assets, businesses, investments that generate income even when they're not working. So I started shifting my mindset from how can I make money to how can I create value? Because the more value you create, the more money flows to you. I became obsessed with learning how money works, how to make it, how to keep it, how to multiply it. I studied the habits of the wealthy and I started adopting them one by one. The results, life-changing. Money stopped being a source of stress. I stopped feeling like I was constantly chasing after it. Instead, I started attracting it. I started making decisions like a person who was already wealthy. I started thinking bigger, playing at a higher level, seeing opportunities where before I only saw obstacles. Because when you rewire your mind for wealth, everything shifts. You no longer see money as something you hope to have. You see it as something you create. You no longer fear financial struggles. You control them. You no longer wonder if you'll succeed. You know you will. And that is the difference between those who stay stuck and those who build the life they've always dreamed of. Most people waste more time than they realize. They wake up with good intentions, ready to take on the day, but by the time the sun sets, they wonder where all the hours went. Distractions, small tasks, unnecessary conversations, scrolling endlessly through their phones. All these things rob them of their potential, and yet they tell themselves they're busy. But busy is not the same as productive. I used to be one of those people. I'd start my day thinking I had all the time in the world, but by the end of it, I had barely moved the needle on anything important. My to-do list kept growing, my dreams kept slipping further away, and my frustration kept building. I was working hard, but I wasn't getting anywhere. Then one day I asked myself a question that changed everything. What if for just 24 hours, I operated at my absolute peak? No distractions, no excuses, just pure laser-focused execution. That question led me to the 24-hour challenge, an experiment that redefined my relationship with time, discipline, and productivity. I committed to structuring my day with military precision, eliminating every single thing that pulled me away from my goals, and attacking my priorities with an intensity I had never experienced before. And what happened next? It felt like I had unlocked a new level of life. The first thing I did was take control of my environment. Because here's the truth, you will always perform at the level of your environment. If you're surrounded by distractions, interruptions, and temptations, you will never reach your full potential. So I made a ruthless decision. I removed every single thing that could steal my focus. My phone went on silent and out of sight. No social media, no random browsing, no meaningless conversations. I let people know that for the next 24 hours, I was unreachable unless it was a life or death emergency. Then I got clear on my priorities. Most people have vague ideas of what they need to do, but they never take the time to define what truly matters. So I asked myself, if I could only accomplish 3 things today that would create the biggest impact, what would they be? I wrote them down and I committed to them with an intensity like my life depended on it. I didn't just work hard, I worked smart. I structured my time into focused work blocks, attacking each task with maximum effort, followed by short recovery periods, because here's the secret. High performers don't work nonstop. They work in bursts of total concentration and then recover before going again. This cycle keeps energy levels high, prevents burnout, and ensures every moment is used efficiently. And let me tell you something, when you commit to this level of focus, you get more done in hours than most people do in days. But it wasn't just about working hard. It was about eliminating the small, insignificant things that steal time. I refused to engage in pointless conversations. I ignored every email and message that didn't move me forward. And I didn't waste a single second deciding what to eat, what to wear, or what to do next. I had already planned it all out the night before. Every moment was intentional. The biggest shift, though, my mindset. Most people approach their day like they have unlimited time, casually moving through their tasks with no urgency. But when you take on the 24-hour challenge, you attack the day like a warrior on a mission. You develop a sense of urgency, a hunger to maximize every minute because you realize that time is your most valuable asset. The impact of this challenge was immediate. By the end of the first day, I had accomplished more than I usually did in an entire week. My energy levels were higher, my focus was sharper, and my confidence skyrocketed. I realized that this wasn't just a challenge, it was a new way of life. Because here's the truth, most people are not struggling because they lack time, they are struggling because they waste time. When you take full control of your 24 hours, you take full control of your life. You stop making excuses, you stop waiting for motivation, you stop playing at half sped, you execute at the highest level, and the results speak for themselves. And the best part, the 24-hour challenge isn't just something you do once, it's a reset. It's proof of what you are truly capable of. And once you experience that level of productivity, you can never go back. You see through the lies of distraction, the illusion of busyness, and you commit to playing the game of life at a higher level. Because at the end of the day, success is not about how many hours you have, it's about what you do with them. Time is the one thing you will never get back. It doesn't care how much money you have, how powerful you are, or how many regrets you carry. Every second that passes is a second you will never see again. And the brutal truth, most people waste their time like they have an unlimited supply. They wait, they procrastinate, they keep saying, tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll focus, tomorrow I'll change. But tomorrow is never promised. Tomorrow is never promised. Tomorrow is promised, tomorrow is never promised. The great ones, the legends, the game changers, the people who reshape history, they don't wait for the perfect moment. They take control. They don't let distractions steal their dreams. They don't let excuses rob them of their destiny. They don't let time slip through their fingers while they sit on the sidelines of life. So the question is, are you ready to take control? Because at the end of your life, when you look back, you won't remember the hours you wasted scrolling, the meaningless conversations, or the comfort you chose over your calling. No, you will remember the moments you went all in, the moments you gave it everything, the moments you silenced the noise, locked in, and became the person you were meant to be. If you want success, you must become obsessed with making every second count. Eliminate distractions. Execute with precision. Focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Think about the greatest athletes, the most powerful leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs. Do you think they waste their time? Do you think they scroll through social media for hours? Do you think they spend their days reacting instead of creating? No, they attack the day with military precision. They don't just work hard, they work smart, and they dominate because they have mastered one thing most people never do, the ability to focus on what truly matters. Muhammad Ali once said, "Don't count the days, make the days count." That's the mindset of a champion. That's the mindset of someone who refuses to let time slip away. And listen, I get it. Focus is hard. In a world full of distractions, everything is designed to steal your attention. But champions don't let the world dictate their future. They take control. They wake up with purpose. They execute their vision with unstoppable energy. And because of that, they create a life most people can only dream of. You have that same power. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can continue letting distractions run your life, or you can rise up, lock in, and take full control of your time. You can decide that from this moment forward, you will no longer be a slave to procrastination, to excuses, to wasted hours. You will own every second. Because the truth is, there is no secret to success, no magic formula, no shortcut. It's discipline. It's focus. It's eliminating everything that doesn't serve your future and doubling down on what does. And if you do that, if you truly commit to maximizing your 24 hours, to executing with laser sharp focus, to removing every distraction that steals your potential, you will become unstoppable. You will separate yourself from the pack. You will achieve things you never thought possible. So ask yourself, are you willing to fight for your future? Are you willing to cut out the noise, to discipline yourself, to step into the version of yourself that you know exists deep inside? Because if you are, then nothing can stop you. Not fear, not doubt, not distractions. You will rise, you will execute, and you will win. Because in the end, it's not about how much time you have, it's about what you do with it.